Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to run the latest HD texture pack for GoldenEye 64 on the 1964 emulator. This pack makes skyboxes and other little details across the missions look a lot more detailed and vibrant, so it's been quite a treat to kick off the new year. So let's get right into setting this thing up. The first thing you're going to want to do if you're a first-time user is download and install the 1964 emulator. To set up the 1964 emulator, head to the GitHub link, which is linked under emulator URL in the description below. Now I'm using the regular Windows version, so to download it all you need to do is click on the URL here, and that's going to give you a zip file. Open up that zip file and extract that 1964 folder anywhere to your desktop or wherever you save your emulators, and then inside that 1964 folder that you extracted, create a new folder called textures. This is the folder that we're going to use to save the enhanced texture image files, which we're going to go and do it now. To download the texture pack, head on over to the Evil Games URL, which is linked under texture pack URL in the description below. There's 4 different options here. The one we want to click on and download is the one that says GoldenEye N64 source HD PNG, and then clicking on this is going to download another zip file for us. Inside the zip folder, you're going to see a folder called GoldenEye. This folder just contains hundreds of little image files in PNG format, and this is essentially what composes that texture pack. So we're going to want to take this entire GoldenEye folder into the textures folder that we created earlier in our 1964 directory. Once we do that, our main 1964 folder directory should have 3 folders called plugin, save, and textures. Now you can open up the emulator by clicking on the 1964.exe file. First time you open it, you're probably going to get a Windows protection alert, which you can proceed by clicking more info and run anyway. You're also going to need to pick a video plugin, so the one we need specifically for this pack is the one called GoldenEye N64. Now we need to make a few tweaks to our video configuration, so head on over to plugins and video settings or press Ctrl V. Pick the resolution settings here that match your specific monitor and setup. I'm using a 4K screen, so I put this up to 4K at 60Hz with a max windowed resolution, and then I enable VSync because for me that eliminates screen tearing, and I also disable threaded video on my config because I've noticed it creates a really subtle input delay, which I don't want for GoldenEye. The only other thing that I'm going to want to touch in this configuration here is in the texture enhancements tab. Just ensure that the option to use texture pack is checked, and then for your texture pack path, click on the button here and pick the folder, the textures folder we created earlier on the main 1964 directory. Next, make sure that the use file storage instead of memory cache option is checked off. And then for the bottom 3 options, check off Save Enhanced Texture Cache to hard disk and Compressed Texture Cache. Now you can save and close, and go to File, Open ROM, and pick your vanilla GoldenEye game file to open it up. Now the first thing you do is you might see a black screen for about 20 seconds or so, but once it loads up and you get through the intro screens, you will hopefully arrive at the main menu looking like the one shown on the screen here with the nicer M-File logo here. And if you try Surface 1 and just give yourself turbo mode because we're just doing a test here, you're probably going to notice a bit of stuttering or a lot of stuttering. And this is just because we're trying to run the texture pack right now using all of those individual PNG image files. Now to get this running nice and smooth, we're going to want to make a couple more tweaks. So let's exit out of the game and head back into our 1964 emulator folder. If you head on over to your plugin and cache folder for a moment, you should notice that there's a new file there ending in .hts, and that would have been created around the time you ran the game. If you did everything right up to this point, the file itself should be about 153,000 kilobytes, and this file is actually what's going to give us a different way to run the textures with better performance. So to get the emulator to run the game using these cache files, open up the emulator again and head back into the texture enhancements tab of the video settings. And then disable the use file storage instead of memory cache option. And then disable the 2 at the bottom as well of Save Enhanced Texture Cache to hard disk and Compressed Texture Cache options. We don't need these anymore because we've already created and saved our cache in a compressed format. So this is kind of how it should look like by the time you uncheck all of those options. Now when you run the game again, the emulator should run the textures from that memory cache, and it should run a lot more smoother. And that's pretty much it. Hope you found the video helpful. If you have any questions or any issues, please let me know in the comments below. Bye for now.